Hey guys, y'all know these carports. You get them from Harbor Freight, Costco, and places like that. This is one of the little cheap ones. We use it to do work in out on job sites where we have to leave solar panels out. And at this time, it's back at the house. But I want you to show you something here, other than the pile of wood. These carports here come with these frames. And you can do numerous things with these frames. Now, generally, their span is too far for you to do a lot of work on them and expect them to be strong, hold up in winter weather and things like that. But what I'm going to show you here is by cutting this shorter and using wood purlings on them, we're going to build a nice carport. Now this one here is 10 foot wide by 20 foot long, but we're going to make a 10 by 12, which for most small cars is fine. You can make them 10 by 14 also if you want to. That's about the limit of what one of these frames that uses the 2-inch pipe. So that's a Costco style. You see that right there? So we're going to take and cut one. This one is more capable of using metal that has the ability to flex, or long ways. You can run long ways. You'll run the 26 gauge roofing metal, not the 29, and this will actually work for that process. But let me go show you what we're working with over here. All right, so this carport has the 2-inch pipe, and gauge wise it is only 17 gauge, so it's not super strong, but strong. You've seen them hold up weather and wind and everything. And this one is a 8-legged 20 foot by 10.5 foot. Kind of odd, but that's what it is. And now there's the frame, and you can tell it's a fairly well built because it does have structural point in it. And what we're using on top of it is foam core poly. So this is poly, and it's foam core poly. It's very strong. Now it comes in numerous different colors, and you can get that at Home Depot, Lowe's. This is Sun Top brand, and then 12 foot long 2-bys as purlings. So there's 6 of those. All right, so these are 3 sections there, and there's another one right there that came apart hauling it over. But we're going to build this out here on the patio to where we can put a barbecue pit under here, and it's tall enough that no heat of the barbecue pit will cause any problems. And the barbecue pit to be used is a nice one. It's a grill. It'll come into my little carport I built here. It's a nice one. So this, and you guys that like this stuff, I'm gonna put a link to this thing. This thing's amazing. We got one for someone else. We put it together, and it was like, what the hell we buy it for them for? So we found one, got it on sale, and we got one. It's from Walmart. Walmart's a Blackstone carrier now, so you can get it cheaper than ordering it from them. Pay attention. All right, back out here. See Katie? Now, to make this carport that's originally 20 feet, to make it a 12 foot long, to work on those panels are 26 inches wide, and if you run 6 of them, 6 foot long, or if you run 6 of them 6 foot long, you'll end up with the roof we want, which gives us the 10.5 here, but 6 foot and 6 foot for the roof line with the little overhang on both directions. And then there's a special cap that goes on the roof. So we're going to have to measure up the distance of each one of these. Now, at 20 foot long, we're going to take 2 inches off for each one of these, which would be 4. So that knocks us 8 inches off on length. And then we're going to measure our spreader pipes. Well, you saw on that other one, that's the pipes between the uprights and the rafter parts. We're going to measure these, and in my case, these are 77.25 inches. And then we're going to take that and multiply it times 3. And from there, we're going to remove 8 feet, because we're 20 foot and we want to be 12, 8 feet off of that number. So I ended up with 19 feet, basically 19.5 feet, and then we're going to remove that from that number to get our cuts. And in my case, our cuts are about 3'9", and that's going to give us 3'9" to each leg. That gives us much more strength. And then of course with the purlings of the 2-bys, we'll build this and set it up. And I'll give you some more here in just a minute. I got my porter band out to do the cutting. There's all our cross members, upper and lower. Let's get busy, and I'll show you this as we step through it. All right, guys, working into the night, I want to show you what I've done. There it is. I cut off the remainder of those spreader bars. That's kind of what you'd call that, I guess. And what we ended up with is 3 foot 8.5 inches of bar length on these frames. Now yours might differ. There we go. Yours might differ, but that's what we got. And then putting the straps on it, we were able to pull it together tight. The straps up top also. See that? And then we're putting screws in it. You know that right there. The screws are going into it to lock it into place. Now my slab is not perfect, so I shimmed it until we got level points everywhere. So we made sure that we were level on the whole thing, like so. And you want to make sure you do that, because when you shoot the screws in, if your frame's a little bit ajar, it's going to really mess with you a lot. So there we go there, and I pulled corner to corner. Now that process is, once I'm straight, pulling the two corners, and as long as I'm within about an inch in this kind of framing, we're fine. So now we've gone from 20-foot length to just a little bit, tiny bit under 12 feet length. And then we're going to be running 1x3s on the sides of these to beef up this, as well as putting the 2x4s running that way as purling. So it'd be 3 of those and a 1x3 tucked underneath for additional strength. And that's why I cut it at 142.5. That's what it was, 142.5, so it'll be flush. And when I roll my little sheet metal, there you go. All right, so there you go. Pretty cool. We're gonna get to the next step here pretty quick. So there we are for using the frames. And so far, a 12 by 10-foot 6. And over here on this side, we're going to be placing them inside of concrete blocks and using contact on the concrete and pouring them full of concrete mix, wet mix. So we're gonna have that, and they also have the same thing. They have pipes in them. They go all the way up, and just cheap 1.25" conduit, but it makes them very strong, so you can't bend these. And that's the main point, because up here you're going to have additional supports with wood and other matter, and you want to make sure these are strong. So you're taking basically a $149 frame, and you're building a really cool gazebo or outdoor cover that's permanent. All right, here we go, guys. Let's get to that next step. We're going to be putting this up here, and look at my WinMax. That is my HYE before they sold out to another company, but those were the Sunning made product. Badass. Out here, when we're done, we're going to have 1-inch conduit made into trussing that tightens all these up. Going to look good. So stay tuned. Let's get this roof on. I've got the upper and lower boards on. These are the 2x4 spreaders that are going to be the purlings for it. You see? And we've got another one to go in the center right here that'll go across also. We've got a gap of 3 foot 8 inches on these pipes, and the pipes are going to be plenty strong because of these pieces right here. So you'll see that these pieces, I can get over here on this ladder, they're going to be going up like this, and they'll be getting screwed into pipes, about 6 screws, torque screws, that go in there. Y'all hear them wind turbines off in the background? Y'all look at my little Chinese turbines still running like a dream, making a lot of power. I'll put a link to those little turbines, and y'all can go see them up on that video. Check them out. Still running like a dream. Look at them moving, boy. Them blades look like they're almost sitting still. That little 500-watt Chinese turbines. What we've got here material-wise, other than these boards, which is a whole pile of them over there, what we got is that foam core, and there's the 2 more purlings right there, 12-footers, 12 foot and 5/8 of an inch factory. And as you'll see up here, how they're going to work out. Now, inside of these pipes is another pipe. So these are super strong, concreted in, conduit with barbs in it, went down in the ground about 14 inches onto a flat block, and then we concreted it in right at the very top edge of the white pipe. So even if it does a little rust out, it's not that big a deal. Over here we've got these set in blocks, and when I get my top coat put in here of about an inch deep, we're going to have like a terrazzo top coat, and when that's done, those will be locked in. They're not going anywhere. You can't really kick them now because I epoxied the blocks and then put the concrete in them, so they're pretty solid. Now, the next step, of course, finish these other purlings that go across. These pipes here are hollow, and we're going to have spreaders that'll be made to go to the peak right here to strengthen those up, and the same way, and then pieces of 1-inch conduit with the ends smashed flat, screwed in to give it structural strength as far as a tow line. Here we go, the next step. Long video, but you want to know it all. Oh, and you guys want to know more about that WinMax? I'll put you a link to that. Ask me or look under the video. I'll put the link where you can get the newer model from Sunning. Underneath, it's called an SM500. Underneath, I'll put it there. That's 11 years old now, running, never put a wrench on it. All right, guys, now it's got dark on me, but I am still continuing. Put me a few lights out, and we have the roofing currently going on. So there you see it right there, kind of nice. I got a 1.5 inch overhang on it, and you have to do this filler down on the end so that this poly will not lift up. Get wind between these points right here, it'll lift up. So you might want to make sure you put a filler space in between your purlins on each end. Okay, the last segment here is the roof is on. We still have to put the crown on, which is going to be galvanized, and that will be cleaned with white vinegar so that it can accept paint to match this or other trim. Probably it'll be white along with white trim here. We have lattice that will go here, 4 by 8 pieces right here and here, and this end will be open. And a lot of people are going to say, well, that's never going to be strong enough to handle weather, you know, but yes, it will. It'll be plenty strong. This is not the first rodeo. This is 17 gauge with other pipe inside. This is 15 gauge, and this is very well structurally beefed up, and by the time you finish tying everything together, it's super strong. I walked all over this roof and jumped on it, so we don't have to worry about that. This is not a first. I'll show you one right quick. Let me show you one right quick. So hopefully if you're watching the video, you stayed with it long enough to see the build parts of this, the sections, and you'll understand. This is having this go in it. Let me walk over here and show you something that's been here for years. And it ain't built like that one. That one's gonna have shear strength on it just like the other. This is just full of junk right now. But I wanna show you something that's handled massive weather, massive. 100-mile-an-hour winds. And it's the same thing right here. Old Harbor Freight tubular frames from 15 years ago. Now these pieces here are 15 gauge, and look what I did with it. It's just a barn I threw together. But the thing that I do, now you see that, the struts, look at this stuff up in here. These are just 3/4 conduit nailed, flattened on the ends that are used to keep a tension load, prevent sagging. And then, of course, putting pieces of plywood in every once in a while there. But this has been sitting here, and it's just 29 gauge metal, and the spacing's even further than what that one is over there. This has had a good 2 feet of snow on it, and hard blizzard, Idaho weather. So if you can do that, and look at this, this is just using top rails, fencing top rails. That's all this is, 1 3/8. But the factor is that you can build with thinner materials if you do like you see me doing here, multiple facets of different materials that actually create like a corrugation effect is what you're dealing with here. So look at this. This is almost 42 inch gap on every one of these. And I know somebody's going to say, well, that'll fall down one day. Well, you know what? Compared to my neighbor's house made out of almost 90% masonite and chipboard, I'll bet my ass on this. He paid $300,000 for that piece of crap. I'll put my money on this. I'll put my money on this, and to prove this, I had 13 people on the roof of this because a guy bet me, and I told him he was screwed. Nice. So back to this. If you know engineering, you'll understand that by the time that I put in my metal framing here, multiple pieces of metal framing and attach the lattice isn't physical strength, but it gives you a little bit of control. And the second thing is that you see how these are gusseted and how these have bracing and all that in it. And there is pipes inside of this where that actually was slip fitted into this. So when this is all done, there's multiples of different angles and connecting points that locks everything together. A fastener failure is something to worry about more than structural. So there you go. All right, and those are epoxied. That was fun doing that. They're epoxied to the concrete, and we used a garden tractor to hook a yellow strap on it to try to break that loose, and we couldn't. And it's supposed to be negative 40 degree capable, so I don't have to worry about that here. But there you go. That's the next thing we're going to do. That is a new carried by Walmart. I think I might have showed that in the previous part. And we're going to put it right here. What you're looking at, guys, is you're looking at salvage to solution. Okay? Still trim, still other things to finish, but salvage to solution is what you're looking at. Blocks salvaged, cap things bought, the capstones bought. The frame for this salvaged. Discount sale on the roofing. Half the wood is salvaged. I have less than $500 sitting here in all of this. And when it's finally finished out, it's going to add $2,000 worth of value to this old house, and possibly I can even convince kids to come out and clean their mess up. Wouldn't that be something? All right, y'all be good. Build it, salvage it, reconstruct it. It's worth doing.